calls and emails. And emails and texts and all those things that I don't feel like an auctioneer. So the first thing is I want to thank you, Cindy, and I want to thank every face you see around here working. They've been invested in this now for months. And I know how the candle got burned at both ends, and I'm really proud of you all. The second thing is I want to say thank you to all of the rest of you also for the work you're doing that I don't know about, and also being here today and the assignments that I hope you're able to take and willing and eager to take when we finish with this presentation today. We understood that this issue was so complex, you can't package this up in one little op-ed or one little letter to the editor. It's just so deep and so replete with so many components and so complex that it could only be cooked up at, let's say, the World Economic Forum at Davos, Switzerland. And it was. Some of the history of this for me is that I served in Congress 18 years, and part of that time I was chairman of the Constitution Committee, the subcommittee of the House Judiciary Committee. I took that job seriously, and I've long been one who reads the Constitution, believes it. I haven't counted how many times I've taken an oath to it, but I would say this to all of you and anybody that wants to raise the issue that any of you, and many of you have taken oaths to the Constitution over and over again, that means you're taking an oath to the Constitution, from where I stand, as it was understood to mean at the time of its ratification, either the original document or the amendments. And you can't make an oath to the Constitution as some justice decides to amend it, but they amended our Constitution back in 2005. And I was in Congress when that happened. That was the Kelo decision, which is infamous now among those of us that are trying to defend property rights. And I might go into that further, but I went to the floor. We did a resolution of disapproval of the United States Supreme Court decision. I don't know if that's ever happened before, but I was so livid I went to our majority leader and we cranked out this resolution. And just in a matter of a few days, we had that on the floor, and we debated the decision that came down that took your property rights away. The core of this argument is this: the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution says, "Nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation." That for public use term was, what shall I say, it was altered, amended, distorted, perverted even, by a 5-4 decision in the United States Supreme Court that took those 3 words out, for public use, and they replaced it with for public purpose. And the city of New London, Connecticut had an economic development plan. They decided that they could condemn Suzette Kelo's home that she had worked hard on, her life's dream, and her neighbors, in order to take that land, hand it over to a developer to build a Pfizer pill factory and some other things. Those things actually didn't happen. But in the end, she went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court took that language out. That's what I said on the floor of the House. I didn't know what Justice O'Connor had written in the dissent until later. She said the same thing, that's exactly what happened. So that has unleashed this horde of top-level investors on us, all across us, with hundreds of miles. Actually, it turns out to be thousands of miles of pipeline. 3,300 miles it's stacked up now that they want to be able to condemn property on. So I'll just say that top to bottom it's this. This thing was thought of and put together out in Davos at the World Economic Forum. They spread this carbon credit deal and this carbon index idea across Europe. I have faced those people in debate in multiple countries across Europe, and at the OSCE that's part of 57 member nation states. So I know the psychology of them. They'll say to me on the side, yeah, this thing's nuts, but I represent these people. If I told them what I think, they'd vote me out of office. I mean, that's an actual conversation with a member of the Bundestag. So that got sold there. Then it was sold at nearly the same time to the Democrats in this country, and the voice was AOC, which I'll just say, I said, this is one of the cross-wired brain spark of AOC. Only she didn't think of it. It came to her and she became the mouthpiece. And then we needed Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer to pull that together with a trifecta. And then they tried to pass the Build Back Better plan, and that failed, longer story. So they plugged it into the Inflation Reduction Act, one of the most misnamed pieces of legislation ever to come out of Congress, but they plugged it in there, and that raised the values of the carbon credits, and now here we are with these billionaires wanting to become trillionaires at the expense of we the people. That's the summary of it. And so what can we accomplish today? We can identify each other. And I want you to mingle during the break times and exchange contact information. We need county supervisors working together. We need state legislators across state lines working together. county supervisors across state lines working together. We need landowners that are networked and working together. We're going to need more plaintiffs and landowners, because as we fight this thing through, and I'm going to challenge this, we need to fight it every single step of the way. Pass no battle up. Don't isolate a chance to fight. Go in there and fight them everywhere, in every county, every way that you can. Bog this thing down as hard as you can. Back this thing up to the utilities board. The utilities board itself, a couple more words on that. 2 people on that utilities board can make the decision. They've been granted this authority by the state legislature to hand over the right to condemn your property. The Founding Fathers would have never imagined such a thing for any reason, to unelected people condemning your property without a responsibility. And so that the Utilities Board needs to face, I'll say, serious criticism for the circumstances that they set in. 2 of those members were appointed in the last month of the General Assembly, and they were confirmed in the same week. One of them with a 50-0 vote, and the legislators I talked to knew nothing about it. They didn't do their due process, but I know, due diligence, excuse me, but I know the governor did. And so I'll just leave that part there for now. But the network that we need to build is this 5 or 6 states, actually 6 states, network together. The people that came down from the Dakotas, the people that came across the river from Nebraska, the ones that may be here from Minnesota that haven't met yet, or Illinois that I don't know haven't met yet, and all of you that are here today, find those people you can be most effective with. Sign up for all the things that you can and will do here today, and reach out to others to recruit more. And if we do this, and we do this right, then we can bog them down all along the way. And every step of the way is building a case for us where eventually I think it ends up. And that's this, that they're looking at $17 billion a year from we the people to pay them after they set up a monopoly access to the highest volume and highest quality CO2 anywhere in the world. That's what they're looking at. They'll spend $17 billion and more to try to trample us the way they're doing. So we have to be an army, and we have to stand on principle, just as Larry's prayer says. And so I'm exhilarated to see your faces here today. I haven't been able to let up for 6 months or more. My wife told me I was retired, that now she understands that I'm not happy that way, I'm happy this way. And before I close this and hand this back to Cindy too, I want to introduce a couple of people. One of them is Congressman Ted Yoho here from Florida, who in last night. Stand up please, Ted, they need to know here. Get to know Ted. I serve with Ted here. He is a man of principle all the way through, even to the extent it broke my heart when he kept his promise to only serve 8 years. He gave up a very safe seat and access to me. No, he's terrific, and I hope you get to know him. His head and his heart is where we are. And then wherever Katie Koppel is, I wanted to mention that too. Katie, will you stand up and wave over there? Okay, there's Katie Koppel. I wanted to thank Katie. She's been reporting on this for months now at KMEG. KMEG more or less shut down their news operation, and Katie will be starting up next week, early next week. Monday the 10th of July, KTIV, the large station out of Sioux City, and she's taken on the job of chronicling this through the news media, and it's a balanced approach. We welcome that, because we're right. We want a balanced approach. And so I wanted to talk to Katie if you get the chance to do that. She's going to do some interviews today too. I'm on a number of other media here, but I wanted to make those 2 introductions. I wanted to challenge you to draw everything from this you can today, and out of this is the day you can see energy in this room, but we need to take this energy and the knowledge base that's here, build on it, and launch it out across the countryside in 6 states. And I'll do all I can do, but that's my pledge, and you're here to do what you can do, and that's all you can do, and recruit others for the same. So on with the program, Cindy. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Next we have Iowa Representative Mark Thompson, South Dakota Representatives Carla Lem and Julie Out, and North Dakota State Senator Jeff